welcome to Easy Eats with Chef Yves. Today I'm with Alexa English, our volunteer coordinator, and today we're going to be making falafel. Falafel is a really easy vegetarian dish. I mean, the summer's time is upon us, and it's a great substitute for or a meat alternative. And today with Alexa, we're going to show you how to make it.
Yeah.
How are you, Alexa?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be here. I love falafel, so I'm personally vegetarian. So when we were discussing the topics to do today, falafel was the number one for me, and I've never made it homemade, and I'm excited to get to it today.
I have an ulterior motive to bring you here on today too, not just to talk about this, but to talk about our volunteerism and our volunteer programs. There's a lot going on at the Greener Village, and without our volunteers, we wouldn't be able to offer half the services or even a quarter of the services of what we do. So while I get started a little bit here, prepping up some stuff, can you tell us a little bit about our volunteer program?
Absolutely. So you're totally right. So Greener Village, as you know, has a very small staff. If we didn't have the number of volunteers we have at any given moment, we wouldn't be able to offer any of our programs. So at any given time, we have between 50 to 80 volunteers, depending on how busy we are during the year. And we have different departments. So we have our warehouse and our food bank department. So the task for those volunteers would actually be helping us pack the boxes, stock the shelves, sort incoming donations, and actually handing out food to our food bank clients. So those are our imperative volunteers. And then the same thing with our gardens outside. If we didn't have volunteers to help us throughout the week, we wouldn't be able to have as many vegetable plants as we have outside. And every year we harvest hundreds of pounds of fresh vegetables outside. So if we didn't have those extra hands, there's no way we'd be able to do it, even with our summer students. And then we also have our boutique, our thrift store. So we have a staff of 2 in our thrift store that's on full time with us. And then besides that are just volunteers. So again, helping us sort donations, working the cash register, doing customer service, doing pricing. So, really like all year round, depending on what departments we have available and what the biggest needs are. We also have special projects that go on. So it's always kind of a madhouse here, but we wouldn't be able to do it without them.
Exactly. And a lot of the times what I do here, along with other programming, is we make lunch for our volunteers. So today, these falafels that we're going to make right now are going to be lunch for our volunteers.
Awesome.
And a little side note, you were saying our gardens and our fresh produce, everything you see here today, all the fresh greens, I went to pick them this morning, so we're making falafels from the Greener Village's garden.
Fantastic. Yeah, and we have such a variety of different herbs outside. I see you have some cilantro there. We have some lettuces, different types of lettuces.
Different tomatoes.
And so are those our tomatoes right now?
They are, yeah.
That's awesome.
So there's only about a half dozen, and I grabbed 3 of them. So
that's great. That's awesome. I love using stuff from the garden. I garden at home, so it's great to use garden stuff here as well.
All right, so let's get started with this falafel, which is really simple and easy to make. All you're really going to need is some chickpeas. Like Alexa said, some herbs from the garden. So we've got some parsley here. We've got some cilantro. And what's neat about this cilantro is it's not like the grocery store cilantro. So this stuff here, it grows the same way, but this is what you would see at the grocery store, the big flat leaf like this that kind of looks like parsley, but smells and tastes like Thrills gum or kind of soapy.
Yes.
But when you see it in the garden, what I really like is it kind of looks like dill in the garden because it gets those
I
little
almost was going to say, is that dill? But it...
No, and it's just frondy and it's starting to flower like this. So the flowers are completely edible as well. They make a beautiful garnish. And this becomes the seed once it bolts.
Right.
So bolts means going to seed, becomes your coriander.
Right.
So here in North America, we call the green cilantro and we call the seed coriander. In Europe, and they call everything just coriander. So when you're doing recipes and stuff like that, not to confuse, coriander could mean the green or the spice or the herb.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which I have right here.
Okay.
Dry
Can I
form.
smell?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Right on. So basically we're just going to start with a cup of chickpeas that I've soaked overnight. Now your best bet is to use dried chickpeas and then soak them.
Okay.
And then you soak them overnight, so you come up with, this is what you have when you start, and then you end up kind of triple in size, your chickpeas. So we're going to add that to the food processor. So this recipe really needs a food processor. It's kind of hard not to, or a food mill if you've got one of those. So we're going to add that to that. We're going to add half a cup of onions, so 1 medium onion. Now, I'm not using canned chickpeas for this recipe, and it's because canned chickpeas have too much moisture already in them. They're already sitting in water. They've been sitting in water, so they're oversaturated, which means if you want your chickpea patty to come together nicely, you want something that can absorb a little bit more moisture. So to that, we're going to add 3 more cloves of garlic. Now this garlic is from our garden last year that we've been holding. And then we're going to just start adding our spices. So we've got a teaspoon of chili powder. Again, everything from the garden. A couple years ago, we had an abundance of chili peppers, so I made a nice powder.
Nice.
And then we're going to add that, about a teaspoon or half a teaspoon, depending on the spice you want to add to your dish.
Just a little kick.
Exactly. Cumin. So about a teaspoon of cumin as well.
Okay.
Now we have coriander. Like I said, it is the dried version, the berries from the herb right here. So we're just going to add a little bit of that. Both flavors have a little bit of different dimensions, so you're just going to add difference to that. We're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. You can add it like that, or you just a little crank or a little bit. It's to taste. So I've got about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper in there, and I've got about a teaspoon of salt. All right, and then we're just going to add our herbs. So I'm just going to give these a rough chop. They've been washed, and you're going to notice I've got the stems in there.
Yeah.
Stems are full of flavor. So when we're doing it in a dish like this, we're going to break it down and we're going to mix it up in that. So these stems are going to go great because they're just going to be a punch of flavor and we're not going to taste them. If you're going to do fresh, then these are a little bit woody. They're a little hard on the teeth. But and then we're just going to just kind of rough chop just like that and then toss them right in like this. And we'll do the same with parsley. So if you don't have a garden like us and you're buying this at the grocery store, it's just 1 bunch of parsley and 1 bunch of cilantro or coriander. You can also put dill in here. You can really adapt to what you want with the herbs that you have in your garden. There we go. So we're going to add that like that.
Great.
And then we're just going to slowly pulse that a little bit until you get a sandy texture.
Okay.
You might want to just pulse it a little bit, and then we're going to, here, grab yourself a little spoon here, and then just kind of push down on the thing like that. So while you're doing that, if you can't volunteer every day, because I know that we have volunteers that come in every day, are there any kind of special occasions other than Christmas that we can come in, or do you have to come in every day?
You don't have to come in every day. It really just depends on the flexibility of the person who wants to give their time. So I'm really open to, if you work shift work, as long as you go through our inboarding process for our volunteers, so we kind of have an application process, you can really just send me an email and say, you know, I'm free this day. Is there any departments that you need more of a hand of than others, and where can I help out? So it's kind of not a weekly schedule, but kind of an impulsive flexibility. And then we also have different functions throughout the year. So either we have gardening on Saturdays. So sometimes our gardens coordinator will actually come in on Saturdays for people who can't volunteer throughout the week. So what she'll do is she'll come in early and we'll get a few hours of gardening in. So those are great for students who are in school, people who are working full-time, things like that. So we also have our programs, such as our Christmas program, like you mentioned, that we have multiple volunteers for. And then we also have our school supply program, which again wouldn't function without volunteers. So we have volunteers that come in, they fill the backpacks with, you know, school supplies, and we give them out to children. So last year we did over 400.
I was just about to ask, how many school supplies do we hand out?
I'm anticipating this year to be closer to 500, just because of we have more clients coming in, inflation, things like that. So
absolutely. And you mentioned volunteer process. Is it hard to come in?
No, it's not hard at all. We just need to decide what department most interests you. And really all I would need, depending on the department, I might need a criminal record check. I would need a copy of your driver's license, and right now we're still doing our proof of vaccination, just to make sure all of our volunteers and our clients are safe. So we're just continuing to do that, and once we go through a volunteer interview process, you're good to go basically, and we just decide on a start day for you.
Right on. No, that's fantastic. Looks like those are coming together
Yep,
nice.
they
Down.
are.
It takes a little bit of time.
Well, it's all the herbs.
Well, exactly, and you want to be patient. A lot of people, their first
Yeah.
instinct is, I'm going to add a little bit of liquid to this, but
Yeah.
you don't want to. You just want to make sure that it becomes a
Yeah.
nice, quick patty. And then, again, the adaptation we'll show you later. There's different ways to cook them.
Yeah.
All right, so now it's a
Right.
nice sandy texture. Looks like most
Yep.
of everything's together. We'll be right back with Easy Eats right after this. Welcome back to Easy Eats with Chef Yves. I'm here in the Learning Kitchen here at the Greener Village with the Greener Village's volunteer coordinator, Alexa.
Hi.
Alexa, we're going to take that mixture that you just made and we're
Yep.
going to add that to the bowl.
Okay.
And then we're going to add a few extra things just to kind of hold them together.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
Now, while you're doing that, tell us a little bit more about volunteerism. Like, I mean, if you don't want to do that physical labor, like
Yeah.
sorting through and things like that, is there other things you can do?
Definitely. So I like to have an environment, and everyone here at Greener Village likes to have an environment where people feel comfortable of all abilities, ages, walks of life. So if you come to me and say, you know, I'm really interested in volunteering, but I have some mobility issues, or maybe my son has a mental disability or they're on the spectrum. So we like to always have different options, you know, if they require a certain sitting position, if they need to take, you know, more often breaks, if they need a little bit more direction. I want to make a space where people can give their time and be helpful, but also feel included and that they're being supportive of an organization, and a food bank is a great place to volunteer.
Perfect. So what we're going to do to this now, just to kind of hold things together, is we're going to add some flour to it. So we're going to go 2 tablespoons of flour. Now, if you're going true vegan here, we'll go with chickpea flour or almond flour or another flour other than wheat. So this would make them gluten-free.
Right.
So these ones right now aren't gluten-free.
Right.
But again, it all comes down to price, right?
Yes.
And then we're going to add a little bit of soda to this, and this is the secret ingredient here. This is going to make our falafels fluffier than most, okay?
Okay. Great.
So all you're going to do now is you're just going to mix that up until we can't see any more white.
Okay.
Perfect.
Do my best.
Now there's volunteer on a day-to-day basis, but we're a board run, but we're a
Yes.
corporation run board as well. So can you apply to you if you want to be part of that corporation, or is that another type of ask?
So if you want to become a member, if you're interested in being part of the board, you can certainly come through me, or you can just email or contact Alex directly.
Because I know we're always looking for industry professionals, because the
Yes.
Greener Village runs, like I said, by volunteers. So sometimes
Yes.
we need financial people. Sometimes we need people
Yeah.
who know gardens or culinary. I mean, I'm not the only cook in town,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that, and we need that type of expertise.
It really
as well.
is just all about the connections you make in the community. And
Absolutely.
it really is who you know. And, you know, who has that passion for giving back to people, or whoever is in a position to give their time or money or donate items, or even if you don't have time or money to donate, you can just spread the word.
Fantastic. So
Yeah.
now we pretty much have falafel. So
Perfect.
all we're going to do now is we're going to roll them into balls. So that's
Okay.
some of your hands are going to get messy, or you
Okay.
can use the ice cream scoop.
I might use the scoop.
So what we're going to do now is you're just going to scoop it, and we're just going
Okay.
to put 4 or 5 balls right there.
Okay.
And then we're just going to turn them into patties. So if you were going to, say, deep fry them, I would keep them in this ball just like this.
Okay.
Because when you see them in restaurants or you see them
Yeah.
anywhere else, they're nice and round, and then they fit right nice into a wrap or into a naan bread.
Yeah,
But what we're
exactly.
going to do here is we're just going to flatten them up, because
Okay.
we're going to pan fry them. So deep frying isn't always an option, because sometimes you don't have that deep fryer, or sometimes you're just looking for a healthier option. And again, baking and baking is a healthier option. Today we're going to shallow fry or pan fry them, which means we're going to pan fry them with a little bit more oil than you should,
Great.
but it's going to make them nice and crisp. So if we were going to bake them,
Yeah.
we put them on a cookie sheet with parchment paper like that. We'd set our oven to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
And we'd slide them in for about 10 minutes aside.
Okay.
So you put them in for 7 to 10 minutes. They're going to get, then you'll flip them.
Okay.
They'll be nice and brown on the bottom, and then they'll brown again. So you won't see browning at the top. They'll kind of dull up, but
Right.
when you flip them, they'll be nice and crispy.
Yeah, so the
and brown.
actual side that's on the heated pan will get brown first.
Exactly, will get brown
Okay.
first. But we're going to pan fry them, and this is the best of both worlds. So you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about deep frying, but
Right.
you're going to get that nice fry crisp that you're kind of looking for when you're doing falafel.
Great.
So we grab a non-stick pan, always works great. If you don't, just make sure you use a lot of oil, and then
Yeah.
I'm going to use some high heat oil.
Okay.
So you can use olive oil if you want, but make sure that it's not salad olive oil. Make sure or you can use avocado oil. It's a higher smoke point, but you just basically want to use a neutral oil. So
Yeah.
today I'm using a peanut oil because I just like peanut oil, and that's what I
Okay.
have
What
with
kind
me.
of flavor does it actually turn out nutty if you use the peanut oil?
Not really. It's just a high smoke point. So
Okay.
back before peanuts, allergies were a real big thing, a lot of restaurants used to use peanut oil to fry in
right.
because it's a cleaner oil. It's got a higher smoke point, which means that you can put the oil a little bit hotter, so you get that crisper,
Yeah,
and it cooks
get
a
that
little
crisp.
bit quicker.
Nice.
So there we go. We got that going on just like that. So we're not just going to eat our falafel like that. What we're going to do is we're going to top it with a few things. So favorite combination is just using some naan bread, which I
Yeah.
have right here. And then we're just going to use a few lettuces. I've got some pickled onions, which I made a while back,
I love
which
pickled
are
onions.
fantastic. And then we have some tzatziki sauce. Now, we're from the Maritimes, so
Yeah.
you can use your donair sauce.
I was going to ask, actually.
It's the you can make a vegetarian
Yeah.
donair-ish, I guess, because nothing tastes like. But you can season your falafel too. Taste like donair. So find your favorite donair recipe,
Right.
and then season it with those types of seasonings.
Nice.
All right.
Awesome.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to slice our tomato up, just like this, and get it ready. Just going to do a couple right here. They're beautiful. They're right
Yeah,
from
they
the
look
garden.
amazing. I'm surprised we have ripe tomatoes already with all
Well,
this
there's a whole bunch
rainy
of
season
cherry
we've had.
toms,
Yeah,
but not very many of these.
they look great.
They do. And then we got some lovely lettuce from the garden. So all I'm going to do right now is have these ready to go.
Okay.
I'm going to put a little bit of tzatziki sauce on the bottom, just like that. I put the tzatziki sauce on the bottom so essentially my lettuce will stick to it.
Right. Like glue.
Like glue. Exactly. And I'm going to put a little bit on top as well because I kind of like a little bit more sauce. So there we go. We're just going to put a few tomatoes, just like that.
Looks
So we
great.
got that ready. Now we're ready for our falafels. So we're just going to grab our falafel,
Okay.
just like that. And then we're going to pop them right in, just like this. Now this pan could have been a little bit hotter. Oh, we got a normal, perfect. But that's okay. We're just going to put it in just like this.
Perfect.
There we go. Is there anything else we want to talk about today about volunteering? There's so many opportunities.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to
It really
think of
is.
them all.
I would just encourage people, if you have any questions or you want more information, just reach out. You know, I'm very easily accessible by email, especially my email is always open. You can even call us through our phone number, which is just 459-7461. So you can give us a call that way and just ask for Alexa. I'm more than happy to share any information. Like I said, if you have any special requests and you want to specifically work in the food bank and you're only available on this day, we'll see if we can make that work. Like I said before, I'm more keen to be flexible to people rather than have a rigid schedule, maybe like a workplace would have. So for example, if we have you on a weekly volunteer schedule and you can't come in that day, whether you have other commitments with family or health or anything like that, we're very flexible, and you can even make that day up in the same week and come in on a different day. Like I said, I always say, if you have time that you want to give, please give it to us. Because there's always so many different things that are going on here, and we're serving so many clients. Right now we just hit over 1,400 clients in the month of May in 2022, so that's our highest ever.
That's 200 more clients than we would have seen in previous
and
months.
it's just because of prices, of inflation, of gas prices, of food prices, rent prices, and even really just the effects of COVID that people are still experiencing. So they're seeking out help.
Now, shameless plug for my kitchen as well is that
Yes.
we do offer classes and
We
things
do.
like that. So I'm always looking for volunteers on the tech side because we do offer an online class, and I depend on my wife a lot.
Yes.
And she helps me a whole bunch. But we're always looking for tech people,
Yeah.
someone who can come in during our online classes and just kind of
Definitely.
man the computer and throw the questions and things like that.
Yeah,
So.
that would be great. I'm sure a lot of people would have an interest in that. And especially since COVID, it's been so unfortunate that we've had to have less volunteers in our kitchen just because of, safety guidelines and things like that. But hopefully once we move towards more of an opening and we get more comfortable and things like that, we will have more volunteers
Absolutely.
in the kitchen.
Once I start getting my school groups in
Yeah.
and things like that. So
Yeah, definitely.
we'll be back with Easy Eats right after this. Welcome back to Easy Eats. Again, we have Alexa English, our volunteer coordinator here at the Greener Village, and we're about to finish off these lovely falafel. They've been in here, and we've just gotten everything nice and brown. So all we're going to do now is we're just going to transfer them right here onto our paper towel. The reason why I'm doing it on the paper towel is it's going to absorb a little bit of grease because we use a little bit of extra fat here in the pan to get them nice and crispy. Just like this,
Perfect.
and then there we go.
They look awesome.
They look, so basically we're not cooking them to cook them, we're cooking them to give them texture
Yeah.
and a little bit of flavor, because you could essentially take them and eat them just like that as the green, but that's kind of, it's not appetizing, it wouldn't work well.
Yeah. And it's not like it's meat. So if you were making maybe like a pan-fried meatball, you'd be cooking the meat thoroughly to cook the raw meat.
Absolutely,
But this
yeah.
is already technically
You
cooked.
can't falafel at medium rare. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, exactly. Falafels also are not just for sandwiches. I use them as well as kind of if you put, say, chicken on top of your Caesar salad.
Yeah, I do too.
Or things like that, you can use
Yep.
falafel kind of as a crouton or as an add-on, a garnish to anything
Yeah.
else that you're
I
making.
even use them as just a side dish. So if I'm having different vegetables, or like you said, a salad, I'll actually put the falafel on the side and have, the pickles and things like that, and kind of just eat it like a board almost.
Basically, so this
Yeah.
is your protein, guys. It's
Yeah.
just a beautiful, instead of eating a piece of chicken or a piece of fish or a piece of steak, this is your protein punch.
Yes.
That's what it is. And
Yep.
it's full of fiber, full of greens. I mean, with the beta carotene and all the iron with all the green from your parsley. It
Exactly.
really is. It's really healthy. The only unhealthy part about it is me frying it right now. All right, so we're just going to top this up. So we've got these lovely sandwiches right here. I'm going to grab these falafel. And then we're just going to put a couple pucks right on top, just
Awesome.
like that. Then I'm just going to finish it up with
More
a little
sauce.
more tzatziki.
Always more tzatziki.
Absolutely. And we can't forget these pickled onions, which again are a beautiful garnish. What you want is that acidity will cut through the fattiness of the tzatziki or the sauce you're
Right.
using, and also the falafel that has flavor, but it's kind of flat as well, so you want to
Yes,
bring out a
yeah,
little
it
bit more
is.
flavor.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we're doing right
Yeah.
here. So there we go. So we've got some
Awesome.
lovely falafel here. If you're a
Groups.
group, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about some groups. So we have many opportunities for groups to come in, whether you're a small business or you work shift work or you have friends or you have family or whatever the situation may be. We have different options for groups to come in as kind of like a team building exercise. So we can do a morning shift, which is the 9 to 12. We can do an afternoon shift, which is 12 to 3 usually, or 12 to 4, depending on the day. Or some groups come in and do it all day, and they have lunch here with us, and they eat your good food that you make during lunchtime, and they really just enjoy it, and they get to have a full tour before they start volunteering with us. I'll give them a full tour, give them some more information, just so that way they feel more connected to the work that they're doing, and they feel motivated for the day. And more often than not, they come back.
Absolutely. And another shameless
Yeah.
plug for our kitchen. In these volunteer groups, you can also do a team building when you come in and make lunch with me,
Yeah.
learn how to cook, and then continue your volunteer day. Well, here you go, Alexa.
Awesome.
Some lovely
Thank
falafel
you so
for you.
much.
I'm going to grab a little piece myself,
Great.
and it is super tasty. Thank you so much for joining me, and
Wow, it's
We'll
so
enjoy this.
crispy.